would see it not right, she would say, I think God needs to fix this. I mean, that's what she thought. I want to try something. I want to pray. So I'd come up with something I was struggling with, and that look in her eyes like, I'm going to pray, and we're going to fix this thing. And that was Gloria. So, some people as I've talked to, they've referred to Gloria as a prayer warrior. And, you look at that picture and say, a warrior? But, yeah, she was. But her strength came from knowing that God actually loved her and the mercy and grace that she'd experienced. People in our church said, one time they said, she's kind of like an eagle that swoops down on a need. She sees it and she comes in and she gets it and then, she's gone again. She swoops down, she sees need and she goes for it. I've heard so many stories as I've talked to many of you about Gloria speaking to you. Just pulling you aside and saying something, and it shifted the course of your life. Or praying for you, and something that couldn't have happened naturally, supernaturally happened. And we've heard story after story. So, today, we want to remember moments, those moments that define Gloria Buckman. And, Gloria would be the first person to say is, I'm a struggling human being and I'm far from perfect. But there's also a lot of amazing stuff within Gloria that we can be inspired by. So I'm going to have a few people share, and I'm going to actually probably have you hold the microphone, those people who share. So if you want to come on up, and we're going to have Stephanie Burns, my ex-neighbor, and Buckman's present neighbor that's down the street, come up and just share a little bit. And then I'm going to have Liz come on after that. And then I'll come here. Cue about 12 inches for you.
I have been friends with Gloria since I first saw her on a ladder painting the outside of marks in her home when they first moved to Charmwood in the 1990s. I have this fear of people falling off ladders, so I kept a lookout for her. I certainly didn't want to startle her. When she got down, I went over to talk. She was so lively and chatty, and she certainly wasn't afraid to speak with a stranger. And so from that day, Gloria had a standing invitation to come to our pool at any time. Often we would spend a summer's weekend afternoon floating on rafts in the pool. We would talk together. We would talk about food. We would talk about the problems she had helping a Ugandan child with her education. And we would talk about what slobs our beloved husbands were. At our pool, these little green frogs used to cling to this vinyl liner underneath the overhang to shield themselves from the sun. And from the moment Gloria saw these frogs, she would gush over them, telling them what cute little creatures they were, worrying if they were cool enough under the overhang and if they would be able to get out of the pool if they needed to. And one day, she couldn't resist touching one of them. They looked green and shiny, and you would think they'd be smooth. So she stuck her finger out and stroked the back. That frog leaped from the side of the pool right into her raft. For the first minute or so, that poor frog was on high alert, but he never left the raft. He floated with Gloria for at least 10 or 15 minutes. And Gloria expressed her regrets for upsetting him so. Well, I didn't know. I don't think I have her voice right, but the frog eventually leapt into the water and again attached himself to a spot on the vinyl. This was classic Gloria. She conversed with animals. They brought her joy. She reached out to them. She loved dogs, her Russ, our dog Shipley, who could be a difficult dog to love, and turtles. I will miss Gloria. I will miss her conversations with the animals and with me. But I believe Gloria is in a place where she is surrounded by the animals that brought her so much pleasure while she's waiting for us. And I like to think that she's on my side, that when I least expect it and need it, Her energy and optimism will find me.
Thanks. So I know she was comfortable with you because I got invited to your pool a couple times. I didn't go though. I don't think I'd really have to announce who I am, but I don't recognize more than half of you guys, so I'm going to. My name is Liz Randolph, and Gloria and I have been very close friends for more than 8 years. And so I'm part of the all cried out part that David mentioned earlier as well. So pardon me if my voice squeaks as we go through this. Gloria touched so many lives, and her death is still raw and painful for so many of us. And it's still really hard to accept. I've been praying and spending time with God throughout the week, seeking comfort in mourning her loss. It's been overwhelming. And yet, to hear people of all walks of Gloria's life reach out to Mark and share their hearts about Gloria, that part has been beautiful, and that part has been meaningful. Many times, though, I had to just get off Facebook and put it away and just find some distraction so my mind wouldn't keep thinking about this stuff. And I would also often listen to a song. This was a song that Gloria and I loved. We both loved this song, and even before her death, whenever I heard it, I'd light up and I'd think of her, and then I would pray for her. So I'd like to just play a tiny little section for that for you guys right now. So, Gloria and I, we spoke the same language. We longed for, craved, and fought for the same things, which was to see the gospel and the truths of God's kingdom played out in our lives and the lives of our loved ones. We even wanted it for strangers and would oftentimes speak to them in that regard. Excuse me. But I think that was why it was so easy for Gloria and I to bond very quickly and very strongly. We were prayer warriors together. You're going to hear some amazing stories of Gloria tonight, and we've all maybe read them on Facebook. Gloria Buckman was an outstanding person and warrior for God. She had more empathy for people than anybody I've ever met before. She would not just want to pray for you, but she wanted to intercede and ask God for you. She would seek God on your behalf all the time. Most of the time you didn't even know she was praying for you. And then she would act on what she believed God told her for you. Her whole life was driven by this deeply innate love for God and for his children, which are all of us, Christian and non-Christian. She had an unquenchable need and desire to know God, the Trinity, very intimately, above and beyond anything in her life. And through that time alone with God and finding him and seeking him, listening to podcasts or worship, or showing him expressions of her love through her artwork and her creativity, it was so easy then to see, feel, and hear the Lord's reflection through Gloria. And a lot of us know what I'm talking about. It was obvious to experience it in and through Gloria. Everything she did, everything she tried to do in her later years was to honor God with her life, her whole life, and that was her primary purpose towards the end. And all about when women have passion. Look out, world. She had it. And it came out in so many beautiful ways, through her artwork for one, but mostly it came through in her servant's heart for people. I remember all the times when she and Gabriel and Alan, my dog Chip, would go to the nursing homes, and that was kind of our ministry. And Gabriel and Gloria were chick magnets. We'd show up to the nursing home, and they would roll down the hall as fast as they could just to be around her. Her laugh was infectious, and her lively animations, with her hand gestures while telling stories to residents just made their day, and their faces would light up. She was always a breath of fresh air. She always brought beauty and joy everywhere she went. Even down to her colorful outfits and her artistic jewelry. All of it of Gloria emulated the glory and passion for God. One other similarity that she and I shared was our passion for wanting God's kingdom to come and move powerfully in our lives, in every aspect, at all times, which is hard in the already but not yet there theology of God's. It's the waiting and the unanswered prayers and questions that she